It's time for your Low Country real estate market update. It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Brian is one of the top 1% real estate agents in Charleston. Find him online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. Now, broadcasting from the WTMA studios, here's your host, Brian Beatty.
Good morning, Charleston. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Thanks for joining me this morning. If this is your first time tuning in, we talk all things real estate here on this show. So what I like to do is I like to take national, regional, local news and apply that to you, the local home buyer or home seller in the Low Country, so that we can make some informed real estate-based decisions. Just a little bit about me. I've been in the top 1% of real estate agents in our market since 2009. So in addition to sharing with you market stats and news, I also like to share my personal opinion and my experiences as someone that's been in the real estate market for going on 9 years now. I got in the market in 2009. And of course, as soon as I got into the market decided to crash. So it's been an interesting ride over the past several years. But I will say that since I was 24 years old, I've been in the top 1% of agents in our market, and look forward to the next hour so that we can share together some experiences and some stories and, of course, some data, again, so that you can make some informed real estate-based decisions. If you'd like to reach out to me at any point, please feel free to do so by calling my cell phone or texting me. My phone number is 843-345-1273, 843-345-1273. Or if you'd like, you can go to my website, www.listingsincharleston.com. And on that site, you can search the MLS, take a look at everything I have for sale and have sold, read some testimonials from past clients. And if you're considering selling your home, which is what I'm going to talk a lot about this particular show, click on the Sell Your Home tab. You can learn more about my 59-day home sale guarantee at 4.5% commission. So again, the website to do that, listingsincharleston.com. So here's what I have planned for this show. It's been a very, very busy first part of the summer so far. Showings are up, inventory is down, sales are up, prices are up. There's a lot of good activity in our market. So I want to share with you what's going on and why I think that is. Why are we having such an impressive level of activity? And what are some things maybe to watch out for? So that's what I'm going to focus on here in the first segment. And then a little bit later on, I'm going to share with you what I think is happening just in terms of the realtor community. We've got a lot of newer agents getting into the business. We have a lot of agents also that were in the business. They decided to get out. You know, sales got tough. Times were tough. Now they're getting back into the market. So I want to share with you, I think, what that means for you. Then we're going to talk about being an aggressive agent. What is an aggressive agent? What does that mean if you're a seller or a buyer? I want to give you a few points and things to think about when you choose to hire a real estate agent to represent you, because there's a big difference. And then lastly, I want to talk about what we can do in the summer months to sell your home, especially if you've been on the market for the past several months. Say you've been listed since the beginning of the year, you haven't received a contract yet. What are some things we can do to create some more activity so that you can get some more online traffic, which will result in more showings and ultimately an offer on your house? So that's what I have planned. Again, feel free to reach out to me, 843-345-1273 at any point during the week or weekend, or visit my website, listingsincharleston.com. So here's what I think is going on right now. And I want to focus first on investors. I've had a lot of calls, a lot of emails recently over the past 90 days or so from some investors that are saying, hey, Brian, I know Charleston's a really hot market right now. Prices are on the upward swing. Is it too late to get into the investment property game? So here's what I want to say to that, and it's going to take a little while for me to paint this picture because I want you to have a clear understanding of what's happening locally and what's happening nationally. So let's talk first nationally about what's happening in our real estate market. Right now, you have about 10 million people still underwater in their home. In other words, they don't have the equity to pay a commission, pay closing costs, and then put a down payment on a new home to move into. So we've got about 10 million people right now still underwater in some form or fashion, some more than others. That certainly relates to our market because we have a wide variety of property types. We have the standard home in a neighborhood. Then we have historic downtown property. And then we have second, third, fourth homes on Isle of Palms, Wild Dunes, Folly Beach, so on and so forth. So we have a large gamut. We have a wide spectrum of properties here in the Charleston Tri-County area. And it's very interesting when you look at some of the pricing history for these different segments and you start to see how our recovery is kind of shaping these markets. So, and again, going back nationally, if we have 10 million people that are still underwater in some form or fashion, let's break that down for a minute. Under $100,000, which is the first-time homebuyer market, 1 in every 3 homeowners is underwater. So 33% or thereabout of people that own a home less than $100,000 are still underwater and cannot sell. That's the first-time homebuyer market. That's when people get into home ownership. So if you're an investor and you're looking in that market, there are still plenty of opportunities, assuming you can find the inventory. Now let's take a step further. Let's look at the $100,000 to $300,000 market, which is kind of that mid-range market. You've got all different people in that market. 1 in every 5 homes is underwater in that market. So here you can start to see a little bit of a trend form here. If the first-time home buyers can't buy a home, they can't then sell their home and move up into that $100,000 to $300,000 price range. So we're starting to see a little bit of a trend form. Now, good news is if your home is worth $300,000 or more, nationally, less than 10% are underwater. So there's a lot less opportunity for investment properties in that area simply because people are starting to get equity back. They're starting to sell. They don't necessarily have to sell. And that market is looking very good. It's looking very good locally as well, except for the properties that I would say are $1 million plus in some of the different areas of Charleston. You know, if you're downtown above $1 million, things have started getting better. If you're Isle of Palms, Wild Dunes, Sullivan's Island, things are starting to turn around. People are starting to buy those properties again. If you're in Folly Beach, it's a little bit of a different story. There's a lot of inventory on Folly Beach right now in that price range. There's a very nice bank-owned home, beachfront on Folly Beach right now that we're looking at. And the only issue is it's a beautiful home. It was built in 2007. It's $1 million, but it's falling into the ocean. So we've got serious issues on Folly Beach with accretion and just sand literally being swept away into the Atlantic Ocean. That's a topic for a different time. But getting back to the overall question, is it too late to get into the investment property game? The answer is no. There are still opportunities out there, and there will always be opportunities out there. It's just a matter of how you find them and what your expectations are. So I would say that if you're an investor, you're looking at buying your first investment property, or you're a seasoned investor, one thing that I would say is do not expect for bottom of the market pricing or bottom of the market returns. And here's why. If you're, and again, we've got 2 strategies here when we're looking at investment property. You either buy it and hold it, or you flip it. So let's talk about the buy and hold market. The buy and hold market has changed in that prices have gone up. So let's look at it as an example at Charleston County. Last year, we had a 13% increase in pricing. And in the first 4 months of 2014, we've had a 10% increase in pricing compared to the first 4 months in 2013. So we're looking at double-digit increases in pricing over the past 12 to 18 months in some of these areas, but rent hasn't gone up by that amount. In fact, if you bought an investment property at the bottom of the market, your return would look better because you bought it for a lower price and rent was almost where it is now. Now, rents have gone up, but they haven't gone up so much so that the return on investment you could have made at the bottom of the market equals the return on investment you can make now. So that's what's going on in the buy and hold market. There are still a plethora of tenants out there. There are still plenty of people that were underwater that chose to do a short sale or they got foreclosed on that need to rent. So there's your target market right there, depending upon what price range you're in. Or if you're in that, I'd say, under $250,000 price range, and you're looking to invest in that market, then you've got tenants that just haven't been able to purchase a home yet. Something economically has stopped their ability to either get a job or get a wage increase, so much so that they can now go out and buy a house. So what's happening in our market right now is that, again, rents have gone up a little bit, but pricing is going up so much so that the return on your investment becomes a little less attractive on paper. Now, what's difficult to put on paper is the appreciation you can expect to receive when you purchase an investment property and you plan on holding it. My family has been in real estate investments for a long, long time, decades, about 50 years. And one of the things they taught me, and I've shied away from this a little bit, is that when you buy a property, plan on keeping it forever. You want that property to be self-sufficient. Never leverage your properties to buy other properties. Now, that's what I've chosen to do, and that's my investment guideline. That might not be your investment guideline. Maybe your propensity for risk is a little higher, and that's something that we can talk about. But my plan when I buy investment properties, of which I own several, is to wait for the right one to come along and keep it and have that be residual income for me that at some point in the future will continue to rise in price, but I'm really more after that immediate return on my investment. In other words, if I'm going to put a sum of cash into the market, this is what I want to expect in return. And my rental properties earn over 10% cash on cash return. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. And then I want to talk about the market for flippers, because those opportunities are few and far between, but they're still out there. So tell you what, stick around. I'm going to take a quick break. And when I come back, we'll talk about flipping property and we'll talk a little bit more about the investment market. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Again, if you'd like to reach out to me, 843-345-1273, or go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. And if you're thinking of buying an investment property or you have investment property to sell, please contact me. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. I'll be right back.
Hear the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show every Saturday morning at 8 on 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. WTMA. You're listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
Welcome back. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. I'm your host, Brian Beatty. Thanks for joining me this morning. If you're just tuning in, we're talking this morning about investment properties and whether or not it's too late to enter the investment property game. If you'd like to reach out to me at any point during this program, before, after, feel free to give me a call or text my cell phone. That number is 843-345-1273, or go and visit my website, www.listingsincharleston.com. And on that site, you can search the MLS, take a look at everything I have for sale and have sold recently, take a look at some testimonials from past clients. And if you're considering selling your home, click on the Sell Your Home tab, and you'll take a look at a preliminary marketing plan that I have when I list property for sale. Not everything is on there, of course. And more importantly, you can learn more about my 59-day home sale guarantee at 4.5% commission. So very simply, I will sell your home in 59 days or less, or I'll sell it for half my commission. So listingsincharleston.com is the website to visit for that. And so let's get back into our topic of conversation here, which is investment properties. When I left, we were talking about the buy and hold market right now. So in other words, you purchase an investment property and the idea is to rent it out and to hold on to that property for the foreseeable future so that you can have the benefit of supplemental income. Now, that's my strategy when I look at investment properties. It's few and far between to find that home run property where you can buy it for a significant portion under fair market value. Maybe you do some stuff to the property to make it rent ready, and then you stick tenants in there You calculate what your projected return on investment is. And I use cash on cash return because I just save up enough money to where I can just buy a property. I don't have to worry about a mortgage. That might not be your strategy, and we can talk about your individual strategy. Again, just give me a call. We'll talk through it. 843-345-1273. But what I do when I buy investment property and I put a tenant in there is I say, okay, here is my projected rental income. I need to deduct from that a reasonable amount of maintenance, a reasonable vacancy loss. In other words, what is average in that market? How long is it going to take me to find a tenant? Is it going to be a few days? Is it going to be 3 months? That needs to be taken into consideration in your calculations so that you can properly assess your return on investment. And then from there, you also deduct your taxes and your insurance. Now, if you have some miscellaneous expenses, let's say that you choose to pay the utilities and the rent is a reflection of that, well, then there are going to be some miscellaneous items and fields in your calculations that we'll have to take into consideration. But very simply, do this. Take your rental income, reduce your taxes, insurance, maintenance, and your vacancy loss, and divide that by the total purchase price plus improvements. I'm probably losing people. But again, take your net income, divide it by the total investment in the property, and that will give you your cash on cash return. Now, at the bottom of the market, it was, I wouldn't say easy, but it was easier to find property that were giving you a 10+% return on your cash. In other words, if I give somebody $100,000, I want them to give me 10%. Where can I go in the market and do that? Do I go to my financial planner? Do I put it in stocks? Do I put it in CDs? Or do I put it in rental property? For me, I put it in rental property. I actually don't have a penny in stocks. Should I? Well, I guess that's just a matter of opinion. But I know the real estate investment property game very, very well. It's what my family's done for 50 years. It's what I was brought up understanding. So that's where I spend my time, energy, and focus because it produces a very nice monthly supplemental cash flow to me. And that's my goal when I work with people is to determine, hey, are we after immediate cash? In other words, are we going to flip properties together? Or are we looking at setting you up for retirement and creating assets that are going to be worth infinitely more in the future that also provide you with monthly rental income? So if this is something you're thinking about, if you're thinking about entering the investment property market, I will say that at the bottom of the market, I worked with dozens and dozens and dozens of investors, have sold them property time and time again, not just then, but now also. And I can walk you through the process. It is not that difficult. It just takes you, the investor, having an open mind and really jumping in with both feet. Because once you find that opportunity, once you find that once a year or twice a year opportunity to buy a great investment property, you have got to jump on it. They're so few and far between, especially in this market right now, that you really need to be prepared. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to sit down. We're going to have a conversation about what your expectations are. We're going to align those expectations with the market to determine whether or not they're realistic. And then we're going to go out there. We're going to beat the streets. We're going to find you an investment property. That's what we do. So that's the rent and hold portion of investment property. If you're looking at flipping property, traditionally, what has happened over the past, 7 or so years is that you just look at a short sale or foreclosure, maybe something that needs a little bit of work. You put some sweat equity into it. You put it back on the market. You make your 20% return on investment. Is that still the case? Are there still opportunities out there for that? The answer is yes, but there are less of them. I did a show a few weeks ago where I was talking about the overall percentage of available short sales and foreclosures in our market, and the number of active listings was something like 7% of the total listings available for sale. I haven't checked that in a few weeks, but it's probably right around the same, and that is not a lot of choice. So what we're experiencing in our market right now is that we have this overall lack of inventory, both in the distress market and also just in the regular resale market. Now, new construction is trying to bridge that gap. They're putting new properties on the market. Are those good investment properties? Most of the time, no. back, 7, 8, 9 years ago, you could buy a new construction property, be one of the first people in the neighborhood, sell it for a nice return on your investment, and then move on to the next one. I don't really see that happening right now. We don't have enough of a price gain for you to take that risk. But what I am seeing is that in the $300,000 and less price range, depending upon where you are, there are still plenty of opportunities, and there are still plenty of people underwater that have to sell so that you can get a great price on the purchase, which is really when you make your money on investment property. You make it when you structure the deal. So there are plenty of opportunities out there, but again, there are less of them. One of the reasons for that is because our market is flooded with investors right now. Not just local investors, not just people that own a home down the street and say, hey, that property at the end of the cul-de-sac is a bank-owned home. Maybe I should buy it and rent it out and become a real estate investor. There's nothing wrong with that strategy, but that's a small portion of the overall investment pool, the pool of investors. What we have now is we have people coming from Charlotte, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., New York, and we even have people that are coming from the West Coast, and we have people that are coming internationally to invest in Charleston. I can say this because I've sold properties to them. I work with an investor out of Vegas that flips a few hundred homes a year in Vegas, and he and I have done several deals together here in Charleston, and he has an appetite for more, dozens more if I can find them. The issue is finding them and meeting that return on investment. So this begs the question, how do you find those great deals? If we're looking at a very low amount of short sales and foreclosures, where are those deals? How do we find them? Well, you can go online and you can pay for some of these memberships to find out where the pre-foreclosures are. You could go that route. I personally think that that's not necessarily a huge waste of time. There are some opportunities in there, but I think you're going to be spinning your wheels. I think what you need to do if you're an investor and you're considering buying investment property is just align yourself with a real estate agent that's active in the market. Again, I've been in the top 1% of agents in our market since 2009, and I don't say that to boast. I say that so that when I sit down with my team, I have 8 people on my team, and every morning we prospect for new business 3 hours a day. That's 8 people calling 3 hours a day to find buyers and sellers for our clients. Do the math. That's 120 hours a week that we collectively as a team spend trying to find deals. So if you're working with a single agent that's doing everything by themselves, and believe me, I've been there, done that. In 2011, I sold almost 60 houses by myself with no help. And that was, don't get me wrong, it was fun from an income standpoint, but man, I had no life. So now I've got this team structured to where we're actively finding deals for our buyers and sellers. And that is the best way right now to find deals. I think when somebody sits down with a real estate agent and they're considering buying a house and they say, how are you going to find these deals? If what you're saying is true and there's this overall lack of inventory in the distressed market, where are the deals coming from? How do I know that you're going to have enough opportunities to support me? Well, the answer is that we are beating the streets every day for 3 hours a day times 8 people to try and find these opportunities. And so wouldn't that be nice if you agree to work with us and we call you up and say, hey, we just got off the phone with the seller. It's an estate sale. Unfortunately, they just lost their parents. They have this property they own. They live in California. They have no interest in living in it. They need to sell it. They want to sell it now. Here's an opportunity. Are you interested? And then, of course, we go into the numbers. But that's just one very broad example of what a team of agents that are highly experienced, that are aggressive, and that are in the market, that's what we can do for you. In addition to just setting you up with a listing service on the MLS and sending you emails based on some sort of search criteria. That's the easy way out. So anyways, I think I've spent enough time on this topic. If you have questions about buying investment property, or you are an investor, you're looking at expanding your portfolio, or you're thinking about selling, maybe you bought 10 years ago and now's the time for you to liquidate some properties. Give me a call, 843-345-1273, or visit my website, listingsincharleston.com. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. We'll take a quick break. I'll be right back.
More stimulating talk on real estate matters with Brian Beatty next on 1250 WTMA.
1250 WTMA.
Now, the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues on Charleston's Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA. Thanks for joining me this morning. I'm your host, Brian Beatty. And if you're just tuning in, we just spent the first two segments of this show talking about being an investor. If you're considering buying investment property, or if you're an investor and you're looking at selling or liquidating some of your portfolio, it's a great time to do it. We're kind of at that point in our market right now where you can still pick up some great deals, but we also have price increases that have increased so much over the past 18 months that you might be able to sell your home for more than you thought you could and then put that money elsewhere. So that's what we talked about in the first segment of our program. We talked about the two different types of investors, buying and holding, and putting a tenant in there and receiving the benefit of rental income as well as appreciation over time. And then we talked about flipping properties and whether or not that's still happening. And the answer to whether or not it's too late to get back into the investment property game or to enter it for the first time, the answer is no, it's not too late. There are plenty of opportunities out there, but you have to align yourself with a real estate agent that knows what they're doing. They've been down this path several times before. And I would also suggest working with a real estate agent that also owns rental property so that they practice what they preach. So that's what we talked about first. If you'd like to reach out to me, again, I've been in the top 1% of real estate agents in our market since 2009 and would love the opportunity to earn your business either as a buyer or a seller. Feel free to call me at 843-345-1273 or visit my website, www.listingsincharleston.com. And you can search the MLS, take a look at everything I have for sale and have sold, read some testimonials from past clients. And if you're thinking about selling your home, which is what we're going to talk about next segment in greater detail, click on the Sell Your Home tab, and you'll see a snapshot of my marketing plan. Not everything is on there. It's a proprietary plan, and it's not something I just give away online. If you want to know what I do to market properties, we'd have to have a conversation about that. But again, click on the Sell Your Home tab. You can read more information about that, and you can also learn more about my 59-day home sale guarantee. And it says this very simply: if I can't sell your home in 59 days or less, I will sell it for half my commission. So we're at a point in time in our market right now where inventory is very low. If you're considering selling, you might be surprised at how much your home is worth. We've had, last year in 2013, we had a 13% increase in pricing. And so far, the first 4 months of this year, prices are up 10% versus the 4 months in the beginning of 2013. So a lot of market activity going on right now. This is the time to sell if you're considering putting your home on the market. So again, reach out to me, call me or text me 843-345-1273, or go to that website, listingsincharleston.com. What I want to talk about now is whether or not it's within your best interest to choose an aggressive agent or a laid-back agent. I get a lot of comments, and a lot of people reach out to me through this program saying, Brian, you sound like an aggressive agent. I need to sell my house, or I would like to buy a house, and I'd like your help in doing so. And so when we sit down and we talk about what an aggressive agent really is and what that means, I thought it would be interesting to go over that on this program, because let's put it this way. When you hire me as your real estate agent, I play to win. If we're ready to go, if we're ready to sell your house, if we're ready to buy a house, it is a full court press. I am here to do everything I can to help you accomplish your goal. And there are plenty of aggressive agents out there, and they may or may not have a plan to work so that at the end of the day, we take your goals and we accomplish them to your financial benefit, versus working with kind of that laid back real estate agent. Just, I'm here to help people. That's why I'm in the business. I love helping people too, but I help people by creating a plan, working the plan, and creating results. And so what I'm seeing right now is that we have all these agents coming back into our market. Let's say that they were in the market from 2000 to 2005. And then as soon as our market dropped, They got out of the business. They said, sorry, this market's a little too tough for me. I'm not making enough money. I need to get out. And then we also have new agents that are entering the business because the market is better now. Sales are up, prices are up. It's a great time to get into real estate. And it is. There's nothing wrong with that. Our community needs good real estate agents. And that's the key word there, good real estate agents. So here's kind of a frightening statistic. And I'll say this first, and then we'll talk more about what it means to be an aggressive agent. But did you know that in 2013, to be in the top 10% of real estate agents in our market, you only had to sell a house a month. One house per month. That's kind of a scary statistic, isn't it? 90% of our realtor community in the Charleston Tri-County area sells less than one home a month. I think everybody, when they decide to buy or sell a home, they want to work with an expert. They want to work with somebody that is tried and true. They understand the market, and they can guide that person to a decision that is within their best interest. And it's astounding to me in our community, the amount of real estate agents that either don't have a plan, or they just go, they take a listing, they put it on the MLS, they put it on their company website, they put a sign in the yard, and then they wait. That is not an aggressive agent. And if they sit down with you and if they say they're an aggressive agent, but their marketing plan does not, it's not consistent, that should be a red flag. I think you should interview some agents that really align with what your goals are. So let's talk about this more specifically. If you're a buyer, why would you want to hire an aggressive agent, and what does that mean? I talked last segment about the fact that I have a team of 8 agents, me being one of them. And every morning for 3 hours, 8 to 11, we are calling people to find new business. It's called prospecting. It is a vital part of any real estate agent's business. Of course, we have to service our current clients and do everything we say we were going to do and provide fantastic customer service, but we also have to find new business. So 8 people, 3 hours a day, that's 120 hours a week that my team spends finding buyers and sellers. That is an aggressive approach to our market and an aggressive approach to finding new business and accomplishing our clients' goals. So if you're a buyer and I sit down with you and I say, hey, we do all this prospecting specifically to find sellers for you, that should be a selling point. If you hire just a normal agent, a single agent, they're not even working 100. They're working 40, 50 hours a week. We're doing 2 to 3 times that just in prospecting. So when I find a buyer that wants to work with me and I say, hey, how ready are you to buy a house on a scale from 1 to 10? And it's a 2 or 3, well, then we just need to provide you with market data. We need to give you an idea of what's trending in our market, tell you where the opportunities are, and then follow up with you over time so that when you're ready to write a contract on a house, again, it's a full court press. So if you're in that, 6 and above range, you're ready to buy a house, you just haven't found it yet, then that's when you want to hire an aggressive agent, not someone that's just going to create a search for you through the MLS so that each time a new listing hits the market, you're emailed. That's a cop-out, in my opinion. Now, of course, anybody that works with me, I'm going to set you up with that search. You're going to know what's available. I'm going to know what's available. But in addition to that, I'm going to exhaust all possible resources to help you find a home. That means calling for sale by owners. That means calling my database and asking for referrals. That means calling neighborhoods. That means relying on my allied resources like inspectors, appraisers, plumbers, electricians, so on and so forth to see if there's anybody out there that might consider selling a home that matches what you're looking for. That is what an aggressive agent is. It's proactive. It's not reactive. What a lot of agents do is they just set you up with that search and they say, hey, once you see something you like, let me know. We'll go take a look at it. Well, guess what? There are plenty of websites that do that for the buyer already. So what value, Mr. or Mrs. Agent, are you providing to that client if you're just going to set them up on a search and wait for them to contact you? I don't think that's what buyers want. I think buyers want to be called and say, hey, did you see that house that listed this morning? It's perfect for you based on everything that we've seen. It's at the end of the cul-de-sac, 4-bed, 2-bath. It has a pool, and I think it's priced really well. Let's go take a look at it today. That, in my mind, is what an aggressive real estate agent is, and that's what we do when you hire us. And it's just amazing to me the amount of agents that are reactive in their business versus proactive. What I mean by reactive is they just have their email pulled up all day, and as soon as a new email comes in, they respond to it. They think they're providing great customer service, which they are because they're communicating in a timely manner. But what are they doing? What are the actions and steps they are taking to help you find that home? Something to think about. So I tell you what, we're going to take another break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about what it means to be an aggressive agent when you're selling your house. And if your home has been on the market and you haven't sold it yet, I want to give you a few ideas and things to think about that might help you increase your traffic. So stick around. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Again, reach out to me, 843-345-1273, or visit my website, listingsincharleston.com. I'll be right back.
Have a real estate question? Ask Brian Beatty. Send him an email, lowcountryhomesales@gmail.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show is on 1250 WTMA.
WTMA.
Expert news and views on the Low Country real estate scene. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. I'm your host, Brian Beatty. Thanks for joining me this morning. I really appreciate y'all tuning in and listening to this program, and also really appreciate those that reach out to me after the show to discuss buying and selling real estate. I really do appreciate your business, so thank you very much for the opportunity to be on this program and to entrust your business with me when considering buying or selling a home. That's the point of this show, is just to provide you with accurate, reliable information so that when you're ready to buy or sell a house, you work with somebody that's prepared and that can work a plan to your financial benefit. Now, of course, if you're just tuning in and you just like being in tune with the real estate market, that's also what this show is for. It's just to give you an idea of what's happening locally as compared to our region and our national numbers. And then I also like to share some experiences and thoughts as somebody that has been in the top 1% of agents in our market since 2009. So again, really appreciate that. If you'd like to reach out to me, you're considering buying or selling a home, give me a call or text me at 843-345-1273, or visit my website, www.listingsincharleston.com. And there's a variety of things you can do on that website. If you're considering selling your home, click on the Sell Your Home tab. You'll learn more about my 59-day home sale guarantee at 4.5% commission. That very simply states that I will sell your home in 59 days or less, or I will sell it for half my commission. So listingsincharleston.com is the website to do that. When I left, we were talking about aggressive agents and what it means to hire an agent that is truly an aggressive, proactive agent versus a reactive agent. So we talked a lot about what it means to hire an aggressive agent if you're a buyer. Let me talk now about what it means if you're a seller. And I'll say this first. If you are considering selling your home, we have a lack of inventory right now. We have a ton of buyers that my team and I are working with that are ready, willing, and able to buy houses. We just don't have the inventory. So again, if you're considering selling your home or you just want to know what your house is worth, give me a call, 843-345-1273, or just submit something on my website. It doesn't have to be a huge detailed process if you don't want it to be. It might be something as simple as me calling you up, having a 5-minute conversation with you over the phone. I pull up everything for sale, under contract, and that's sold in your neighborhood. And within a few percentage points, I can tell you what your house is worth. So if you just want to know what your house is worth, maybe you're considering refinancing, and of course you're considering selling, just give me a buzz. I'm happy to do that. No cost, no obligation, just here to help, and do so with the idea that at some point in time, maybe we'll get a chance to work together. So let's talk about being an aggressive agent if you are a seller and you want to hire somebody that's a truly aggressive, proactive agent to sell your house. First thing you need to do when you meet with that agent is you need to ask them some fairly tough questions. You need to find out what exactly they are going to do to market your property and what is the success that agent has had over the past 6 months in marketing properties for sale. What are the numbers? How many of you sold? How fast are they selling? And for what percentage off of the listing price did they close? So what we run into a lot is we've got a lot of agents that'll make a bunch of phone calls to sellers. They'll go on listing appointments. They'll overprice the house, which drives me crazy. And then the rest of the time, guess what their communication is going to be with you? You need to drop your price. You need to drop your price. You need to drop your price. And that's the value that they add. is, hey, we took the listing, we tried it, didn't work. Now we need to set a realistic price. I don't think that's a very reliable way of choosing a real estate agent and going about selling your house. Now, having said that, again, we are in a seller's market. So if prices are rising, yeah, we have some flexibility there. We can price your house a little bit above what we think the market is worth. And if the market comes up to it, that's great. That's what needs to happen. It's the total opposite of what happened at the bottom of the market. You know, we look at everything that sold 6 months ago. We know the trend is going downward rather than upward. And we need to have a conversation with the seller that says, hey, 6 months ago, this house, which is very similar to yours, sold for $250,000. We need to be at $239,900. So it goes both ways. And that's just a very small segment of what I'm talking about here, which is pricing. If you're considering selling your house, as long as your home is priced close to what it's worth. And when I say close, I mean within a few percentage points, not 20% above what it's worth, because that's just not going to work. It's just not going to happen. But as long as you're priced close to what it's worth and your home is in good condition, or you've priced your home accordingly, then it will sell. You will get showings and you will likely get an offer. But when you sit down and you hire an agent, I think the question you need to be asking yourself is, the agent that I choose, what exactly are they going to do for me outside of what their company offers? What are the personal things they're going to do to sell my house? So when I sit down and I have a conversation with a seller and I say, hey, here's what the standard agent does. Here's what the standard marketing plan looks like. Here's what my marketing plan looks like. Here are I won't say the exact number, but here are the thousands of dollars that I spend on a monthly basis to market my properties for sale. So that again, when I go up against average Joe agent, you can see that my online traffic is going to be higher, our showings are going to be higher, and we're going to increase your chance of selling. And that's in addition to all the prospecting I talked about last segment, where we sit down as a team and for 3 hours a day, all 8 of us are finding new business. That is aggressive, and that is something that has taken a long time for us to form a habit with. It's not easy waking up every day and beating the phones for 3 hours. It's not. Most agents don't do it at all. They just say, hey, I'll pay for some marketing. I'll let people come to me. I'll wait for people to call my yard sign, and I will react to what the buyers want. We are very much a proactive team. And I'll say one more thing on online marketing, and that's the last thing I want to talk about because I'm almost out of time here. But in 2006, I was Entrepreneur of the Year in Charleston for creating a real estate-based online marketing company. So when you talk about online marketing and the fact that 95% of people find their home online, I think it's important for you, the seller, to understand that the person you hire has to be a marketing expert. I don't think there's a reason why you should bend or give in that particular segment of their marketing plan. You have got to find somebody that knows how to attract buyers to your house. It's vital. It's at the very base of what we do as listing agents and marketing agents to help you find a buyer. So something to think about. Last thing I'll say, if your home's been on the market for the past 6 months or a year, here's just 2 or 3 quick things that you can do. Number one, take a look at your pictures. If your pictures have brown grass from when it was taken in January, update your photos. Put some nice landscaping out there. Really freshen things up. Number two, maybe it's time for you to do a few things on the interior of your property, like paint or stage, move some things around, put some fresh plants in there, light a nice scented candle, and create an experience that might be missing from your showings. And then the last thing is you need to take a look at your price. If you've been on the market for 6 months, chances are you are not marketing your property at a price that is capturing the buyer's attention. So again, if you're considering selling your home, feel free to give me a call. I'm happy to just tell you what it's worth over the phone. It's not going to be as exact as if I come through and I take a look at your upgrades and condition, but I can at least give you an idea of what I think it's worth. So again, give me a call, 843-345-1273. If you're considering selling your home, go to listingsincharleston.com. Find out more about my 59-day home sale guarantee at 4.5% commission. And let's see if there might be an opportunity for us to work together. I'm out of time. Enjoy your weekend. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Join us for another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show next Saturday morning from 8 till 9. Contact Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. 843-345-1273.